The continent that we know as Australia today has supported probably about 3,000 generations of Aboriginal people, which we date back to about 80,000 years. So we've got to think about what the next 3,000 generations look like, so we've got that responsibility. So I don't think there's a day goes by where I don't think about the Eastern Mar people as a collective. I feel I've got quite a responsibility, and it's quite a humbling responsibility at the same time. And within those thoughts, I think about, yesterday's events and what's taken us to today, whether that be good or bad. We have an aspirational plan for the Eastern Mar people, which we label our country plan. That's an aspirational guide of where we want to end up, whether it be one generation's time, which is my daughter's generation, Jada's generation, or whether it be in 7, 8, 9, 10, 100 generations' time. So that's what we always need to be thinking about when all community members make decisions. What is tomorrow going to look like? At the moment, EMAC's kind of in that planning phase of what the next step looks like. So we have the aspirational guide, and underneath that we've created a strategic plan of a bit of a roadmap of how to get there. And underneath that, we're also creating our operational guide, which is basically of how we're going to implement the interests that we have identified within our country plan. So I've actually tried to quantify how much that's going to cost. So if we say we want all our young people completing year 12 by the end of 2025, we need to actually put a price tag on that and figure out how much that's going to cost, whether it be of human resources or resources more broadly, money, etc. And then we've got to figure out how we're actually going to get that income, that capital within the EMAC system, so we can actually facilitate the rights of our people. I think the first goal for Eastern Mar and what the actual corporation can do is to bring people together on as many occasions as possible, and so that everyone knows each other. So all the cousins know each other, all the aunties know the nephews, and the nieces. I think that sense of community is really, really important, and a core role that the corporation can play. We see ourselves as drawing people back to country, whether it be creating jobs, creating opportunities to visit, whether it be camps, cultural activities, etc., etc. We can see ourselves doing that and these mechanisms, and we've just recently employed an engagement coordinator to help play that role, to engage the EMAC people or the EMAC citizens more deeply. But I also think that we can create some wealth within it for our people as well, so give them opportunities. So if I'm a young person that is thinking about completing year 12 and wants to be an architect, they can do that. I see Eastern Mar playing the role of actually being able to facilitate and break through those barriers and giving young Aboriginal people opportunities, which maybe in other generations we haven't had.
My grandmother, she was in the stolen generation, and for the gaps, it impacted her, and then it would have impacted my mother, and then it would have impacted me. So, yep. And yeah. I might plan to work in the line of my dad and my stepmom, which is a native title lawyer.
Today I drove the Great Ocean Road, which is a landmark nationally and internationally. And you drive past $1 million houses, $3, $4, $5 million houses. And what we do know that this is and still always will be Aboriginal land, and the wealth that's been created within Australia is through Aboriginal land. As Aboriginal people haven't had an opportunity to enjoy that wealth. So we see Eastern Mar as getting into that space and actually creating capital and wealth for our people, so they can enjoy what they see other citizens of Australia enjoy. Something I do know from working in the education system for a decade is that the broader Australia is not educated enough, and the more we develop the narrative, or people know about the narrative of the Aboriginal people and their fight for survival through here, I think it's a really important story for all of us to know. And part of the role of Eastern Mar and the corporation is actually bringing that narrative to life so that everyone knows about it. So it's a conversation they can have more freely within their community settings.